Hi, everybody. Welcome to NCL 101. The topic this week is Scouting Report and Career Pathways. I'm Emily Calandranis. I'm the Skyline Community Engagement Manager, and we are going to be talking about everything Scouting Report this evening. The agenda is what is the Scouting Report, ways to utilize the Scouting Report, cybersecurity community and networking, cyber career path options, and then, of course, we will have open time for Q&A, and then we will have any remaining time for open chat. The presenters we have today are Mistress Venom, Wolf Shirts, and Hushy. So with no further ado, I'm going to go ahead and give it to the team.
Thank you, Emily. So to start off, the age-old question, what is the Scouting Report? It is the greatest secret key that, we publicize all the time, but people always forget about for the National Cyber League games. You get one of these for both the individual and team game. And as we've got on the screen, it identifies your overall rank, the accuracy and completeness percentage of each category, and the questions in each category. It has a nice description for each challenge, which is a recent change and wonderful improvement, especially when you're looking to use this to talk about any of the particular categories or challenges in a job interview or putting those on your resume. And then, of course, maps to the nice job roles. And then when you look back at the wonderful mappings we have, you can see which cybersecurity work roles those relate to. So this is the first page of our sample scouting report, which you can find here. And I posted a link in the chat to where the scouting report is. And we have a sample scouting report available for download. That way, if you are a first-time player, you can hop in and check that out. So that being said, now that you know what the scouting report is, what are the different ways we can utilize the scouting report?
Well, the best way that I found to use it was from season to season, watching my progress. That's how I used mine. But I also managed to throw it into a little section on my LinkedIn and made sure that I put a note on my resumes that I've sent out to ask about my scouting report.
LinkedIn is a very, very good way to utilize it. You can also, there might be a way that you can send it along with your resume as well. It's a good way to sort of add some data behind the skills that you work on, or work up the skills that you are proficient in.
All right, so, oh, sorry.
No, I was being silly. Circling back to what I was saying about using it to gauge my own progress, it's also a good way to check and see where your strengths are, your own personal strengths are. So that way it can help guide you in what type of career that you want within cybersecurity, because there are so many spaghetti lines of ways that you can go in cybersecurity. This can help you sort through them, and it can also help you rule out things that you know that you don't want to do. Like, for example, I know for a fact I don't want to do malware. I don't want to do reverse engineering. Not unless I absolutely have to. But I'm cool as heck with OSINT.
And honestly, using it like that is one of the best ways. That way, you can say, this may not be my strength, but this is something I love, and if I need to, I can work with it. Which, plus 10 for all employers and potential internships, just showing a willingness to learn and showing, hey, this may have been my first season, but I managed to get through 10% of the OSINT challenges and 20% of log analysis. companies love to see that students are learning and are passionate and want to grow and get further with their careers.
Yeah, definitely. It's a good resource for going to a company, and like, especially if you don't have any prior experience, you can say, hey, I might not have I've not, it might be you're going for an internship or maybe your first job that you're trying to get. You can be like, hey, I haven't had a job in security yet, but I've done this. Like, it gives you a way to show yourself off, even though you don't necessarily have the prior work experience. You still have some of the skills that are needed to do a certain job.
I do want to point out, though, with regard to like using the scouting report for this type of thing, for getting jobs or trying to get jobs. So on the sample that's shown on the screen right now, how it says 616th place, don't let that dissuade you from using it for your job searches and for your own personal progress, because 616 is not, even with this example, is still not bad given how many people are actually playing. So try to keep in mind that everybody can't be in the top. We're not all like going to hit first place, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that, because we all have to learn, and that's what we play for, is to learn. And so you use this for your strengths and weaknesses, and to help you decide what you want to work on more, and to give you an idea of what you enjoy doing more. But don't let the figures at the top throw you or cause you to not want to share the information, because employers like seeing weaknesses too. It's a wonderful way to show growth.
Yeah, and Emily, do you mind if I take over the screen share for one moment to show something mildly interesting?
Sure, absolutely. Just give me 1 second. I'm going to stop sharing.
Thank you. So on a similar note, okay, hold on. This wants to fight me, of course. So on a similar note to what Hushy and Wolf Shirts were just saying, I want to bring up one of my old scouting reports. And on this scouting report, I did not place the best, but this is one of the ones that I used when applying to my current position to say, hey, this is what I love to do. This is how I competed. And this one is fairly old. It is from 2018, but I don't know if you all can see my screen yet. Maybe. Yes, no, potato?
Not
You
yet.
guys
No, not.
All right. Now?
That's
Okay.
it.
Just seeing video.
All right, fine. Since it wants to fight me, we're going to share my entire screen. Or not. Okay, well, I was about to say, I placed, in the 2000s and chose to submit that, and companies did not question. Okay, that Spider-Man is not sus. Thank you very much, Paul.
Meredith, if you want to Slack me the link, I can see if I can share it on my screen. You want to do one last try?
Since, technology wants to fight me today, which is fine.
I agree with Terry.
Okay, well, now we sit here with dead air because I break things. Apparently one of those is my own screen sharing permissions.
That's okay. Give me 1 second. I'm going to pop it up.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, while we're waiting, if anyone has any questions, go ahead and put it in the ask a question box, and we will go ahead and answer them. So let me go ahead. I'm clicking it up right now.
Darwin, can you ask that as a question at that beautiful little ask a question section down beneath our heads? So that way we can share the answer with other people who may watch this later. Please and thank you.
All
Yay,
right.
much appreciated.
I'm gonna share my screen. My Mac is thinking. It's thinking hard, guys. All right, here we go.
All of these comments about Spider-Man are going to go back to my boss from where I stole this Spider-Man. Definitely not the top of the
Your
server.
boss might find out that you stole it when they see it on the show.
Preview.
Just a guess.
They know that I have it, technically.
All
What
right.
they don't
Are you
know
like
is
holding
really
it
new
for
office.
random?
Now it's not letting me share my screen of your thing. So maybe it's not just you. Let me try one more thing, guys, and then we'll see what happens. It just doesn't like you, Meredith, today. I think that's what it is.
All right. So the TLDR says
No go, my friend.
I wonder why I have a share button. Is that like what the issue is, or it's just not letting anybody share?
it's just not letting me share that specific file for some reason.
Yeah, and even when I try to do it, it won't let me either.
Doesn't make sense.
I've had trouble if you're on Mac doing screen shares lately, especially with Chrome.
Yeah, well, it lets me share this, but unfortunately, Meredith, we don't get to see your pretty your pretty scouting report. But go ahead, yeah, and please explain kind of what you were starting with your placement and what you shared. I think that's valuable information.
Yeah, certainly. So I placed in the 2000s that season and didn't go after every single category and basically only gave an attempt at a few questions where I didn't feel the most comfortable. But I decided to submit this along with my resume to the company that I wanted to work for. And because of the way that Cyber Skyline goes through these scouting reports and they identify each of the individual categories, mine from way back when, of course, didn't have forensics, it had wireless access exploitation, but it helped them see, as well as me, before I sent this off to them, that I was really interested in cryptography that season, log analysis, network traffic analysis, and then of course the overall fan favorite and my favorite little shenanigan, open source intelligence. And that helped the company I was interviewing with say, okay, why did you go after these particular categories? What did you learn from this? Because I see that your accuracy wasn't 100%, but you did get completion. So what did you learn from this and why? And it's a great conversation starter on both sides to say, even if you don't have any experience beforehand, here is what I got to learn. Here's how I got to do it. This was how I struggled to either find an answer or didn't find an answer. But after the individual games, I went back and spoke with some of the other players in that no answer only methodologies channel and said, okay, this is what I need to learn, and used that for next time. And it's just really great way to show companies that you are learning as well as you are passionate. And it doesn't matter what your placement is, as the scouting report shows that you tried and you are working towards specific areas or all of the areas of cybersecurity that you want to focus on. And it's an amazing tool to use. And as somebody who has the pleasure of assisting in hiring interns, you can never go wrong with submitting a scouting report as well.
I'm a graduate student at Southern New Hampshire University. I have several classmates that a few have already graduated and moved on, but they use their scouting report to recruiters and hiring managers that had never even heard of National Cyber League. So the whole scouting report, they had no clue what it was. But because they used it, it gave them a talking point to bring it up and to show that they had hands-on practical skills. and these classmates of mine have actually gone on to very nice positions at very large companies. So I do know that it works really well if you bring it up to even someone who doesn't know what it is. It opens the conversation up so that they can learn about it.
Yeah, agreed. The scouting report is definitely the greatest way, especially that first page where you basically get a wonderful summary of here's the NCL, here are the categories, this is what points are, and this is why you care. 10 out of 10 for anybody who has never heard of it. But, at this point, we're growing and it's becoming more and more of a common theme to actually hear employers talk about that, which is great news for all of the students out there.
Great. So I actually think that takes us to this next slide. I think it's a really obvious way to slide into the cyber community and networking. So we had talked about adding the scouting report to a resume, or, if you're going for an internship, entry-level job, but pretty much it all starts here. And that's where the career pathways open up, and how do you utilize it? So if one of you guys want to take it away, and you get to see my picture, look at you guys, so lucky. So you get to see an example of kind of like what LinkedIn looks like. You can see kind of the analytics of people looking at your profile and when you add certain things on there. So yeah, take it away, guys.
Yeah, so look at this. Emily's a real person and not just this mysterious voice behind the screens. Sorry, I had to.
I could be the Wizard of Oz. That's okay.
So for those of you who are unfamiliar with the platform, as Emily just mentioned, you've got these wonderful analytics here that nobody else can see but you. But one of the awesome things that you can do with analytics are show who has viewed your profile. And if you put something on there like a scouting report, and for companies that know the National Cyber League, they can search for the string scouting report in LinkedIn. And they'll see all of the profiles that come up that have, I have my NCL scouting report here on my resume, or, you've added it to your LinkedIn profile as a supporting document. And they can see that document there and go through and start to visit and poke around, which is super awesome. And Tristan, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that Cyber Skyline now offers a verification of the scouting reports through their platform, and you can verify that it is a legitimate scouting report as well, which is a boost to employers for legitimacy purposes.
I should know the answer to that, but I do not off of the top of my head, so I do not want to confirm.
I think you're correct, Meredith, only because I had a look at that front sheet of the scouting report recently, and there is a hyperlink that you click on it and it does verify. So the only reason why I know it is because I kind of ran into it this week, but I can say yes, that is true.
Terry's also confirming.
Okay, good to know I'm not crazy on like one thing this week, but we're still at the start of the week. So yeah, you can basically add in that scouting report wherever you want into your LinkedIn profile. I personally suggest under accolades and achievements, because for a potential HR representative or somebody doing the hiring, they're always going to go down and look at that section, as well as the educational history and any job history that you may have in there as well, to say, hey, what makes you stand out? What makes you awesome? You've got that area to put whatever you want there on your LinkedIn profile and use that to your advantage.
Another neat idea would be like to make a personal blog and start like putting like your scores and stuff from season to season.
Sort of a LinkedIn hack that I kind of want to throw in there that a professor taught me was to just use it like a living resume, because it's really easy to update your LinkedIn, but updating resumes tend to be daunting and annoying. So you just kind of like keep it as alive, like, this is what I'm doing that's related to my career.
As somebody who hasn't updated their LinkedIn in like 2 years, you have a good point.
Oh, I'm terrible about it. It's just good advice. I'm not saying I follow it to a T, but
I was gonna
it's
say,
very
anybody
good.
who knows me knows I hate updating my resume because I come from old school where you're supposed to put all of your experience on, not the last 5 or 10 years. And if you have like more than that amount, so it's really hard for me to break that habit, is what I'm getting at. So I just would rather just not even look at my resume.
Yeah, I feel that. But do as we say, not as we do, and definitely continually update your resume.
You know, there's something that came to my mind. So many of you in the audience might be saying, you know, I actually don't have enough experience to create a resume. And you might think that that is a hindrance, but it just happens to be just where you are right now in your professional career. The scouting report can actually replace any type of resume, you know, emptiness that you might have. So think about that. If you don't have any job experience yet, of course, you want to get your foot in the door, you want to get an internship. Perhaps you are just ready and prepared to get that entry level position. Utilize the scouting report to your advantage. Utilize it on your LinkedIn profile. And know that that is going to show your accomplishments and that recruiters are going to be really excited to see what you're able to do. So don't feel like we're talking about at resumes. Maybe you have one, maybe you don't. But the great thing is that you're going to have this at your fingertips. And like Meredith had just shared in the previous slide, you can cherry pick information from the scouting report. You don't have to necessarily share your rank. You don't necessarily have to share X, Y, or Z. Pick and choose places and ways that you can highlight your accomplishments and what you're really good at and where your strengths are. So for many of you, a resume may seem like a foreign concept, although eventually you're going to be having one of those in your career. But the scouting report will really be able to give you that leg up and also be able to get you into the door so then you can create that resume and those experiences that you'll have in the future.
Yeah, and just as an aside before we move on, because we haven't brought this up yet, one of the most important things that you can also tie in is the fact that if you participate in a team game, you will get a team scouting report as well. And you can use that to show, here's how I work with a team, and here's how we manage to go through that and troubleshoot and learn how to solve these different challenges that Cyber Skyline puts out. And this is how, you know, as a team, we managed to be awesome at the National Cyber League. And this is how much we learned, and just show your skills on working together and, you know, having a bit of fun along the way, of course, because this is the National Cyber League. But that's also something really, really good to call out as you're going through this.
All right. Well, now we're going to move into talking more about the cyber career path options. Now, this is a lengthy list, and truthfully, you can Google probably 100 more career path options. But the team will let you know kind of a little bit about some of these things or other things that they do in their everyday lives that maybe fall under these career paths, or maybe they're a little bit different. So just know this is not a collective list. It can go on in different ways that cyber can fit in with your skill sets and the path that you take. But the team, yeah, go ahead and jump in and pick off where you'd like with our cyber career path options.
Yeah, so we can tackle any of these three categories first. I just came to the unpleasant realization when rereading these categories that I wear too many hats, because I've got at least one position that I'm working right now in each of the categories. I'd like to file a complaint with myself.
That goes back to that old saying, like, that you hear it a lot too. It's because companies are still stuck in that mindset that they want to hire one person to do all the jobs so they don't have to hire an entire team. So like, that's a whole different conversation, but
It's a whole negative conversation. But one of the greatest things with all of these is whether you have a role that is primarily focused on engineering and heavily technical from a coding perspective, or looking at the bigger picture, or looking at policy, to doing something where you are breaking and fixing, such as a penetration tester or purple teamer, to being somebody who's sitting there primarily defensive or doing responsive work. All of these have such great overlap that once you start to learn one area, if you find that you have passion in another, many companies will support your pathway, essentially becoming a little bit like a snake and moving back and forth from engineer to tester to responder to tester to engineer as, these are very fluid positions. And as you see, security analyst is listed under engineer, but it's also listed under responder as a security operations center analyst, because those are very, very similar terms and very similar positions. But they've got very different roles when you look at the nice work mappings. And I will send the NCL link to that as well in the chat as soon as I can.
Another thing to keep in mind is you don't necessarily have to be looking for a security related job. A lot of the skills will help you, whether you're doing things like sysadmin work, or in my case, my actual job title is a software engineer. So like I do development. Granted, it's focused heavily on security and making NCL happen, but a lot of these skills you are learning are applicable in a non-cyber security way, because arguably the one of the main differences it's all application at the end of the day. So maybe if you've narrowed your search down to like, I want to do one thing, also maybe include some other non-security roles that are also IT that you would also potentially want to do. I think that's worth keeping in mind.
Yeah, and at this, in 2022 you can literally find a security position anywhere, or a position that isn't security, but add your own flair of security to it, and companies will love you for it.
Yeah, and the idea that, a networking job doesn't need to know security. No, they absolutely do. Every part of your IT organization is security, whether they know it or not. From help desk to your actual security department, they all do play a role in security. They just might not know that they do.
So like for the path options, the links that were sent out, those are a few that I have collected, and I'm pretty sure that Merediths collected a few along the way as well. But if you take your strengths in your scouting report and you align them to the NIST alignment that's available for y'all, you can kind of get an idea of which direction you're able to go. And if you ever wonder, like salary wise, what each of them pay, then go into Indeed and just look a few of the skills up. Just the skills. It's a neat little trick I learned a while back. Like you can take any certification and put it in there, into the search, into the job search in Indeed. And I learned this from Jason Blanchard, who incidentally runs a very wonderful show in helping people to tailor their resumes with regard to this, to get a job. So anyways, if you take either just one skill, punch it into the job search in Indeed, or I'm sorry, not Indeed, LinkedIn, and let it populate one skill or one certification that has some of these skills, it will populate all of them, and well, all of the relevant ones. You can then take and apply to those, even if it says it needs the certification. What you have to remember is that it's not HR is the one who puts out the job ads. It's not the people that are actually going to be deciding whether you're a good fit for the team and know what they need you to know. So that being said, it'll say experience in X amount of years if it needs experience. Keep in mind that this is experience. This itself, the competition itself, counts as experience. and your proof is the scouting report. And anyways, so take that and plug it in there, and it'll show you like an average salary. You'll get an idea of what each of them pays. You get an idea of where you fit in with the job roles that are listed. And yeah, that's about it. Good way to gauge like where you want to go. And then using those little guides that are posted in the chat, you can pull those up and go down through them and see which direction you're going with it or want to go with it.
Another a good tool to kind of like keep in your back pocket is look for any B-sides conferences near you. Because a large part of actually getting a job in security is doing networking with other people, because you might meet someone and a couple months down the line, their company is looking for someone and they might be like, oh, hey, that person might want to know about this job.
If I recall correctly, that was how I first met you, was a B-Sides conference.
Yeah, but we didn't realize it until a while after.
This is true.
Funny thing is, the way that I met Meredith was the WESIS conference. Networking is definitely your friend.
Yeah, networking is your friend.
And if you are a college student, chances are, if you can afford to play in the NCL games, you can probably afford to go to B-Sides. They're normally like I think the one that I'm going to is Columbus. It's normally like $20.
Most of the ones up in the Cleveland area are 10. There are a few in New York that are in the $10 to $15 range as well. I more so know of East Coast. I know B-Sides Las Vegas, I believe, is 25, but it's super cool. I think those are all the big ones I can think of.
And then also don't forget, because your students, if your school has a cyber league, there's a possibility of your school sponsoring you to go to some of the conferences.
And if all else fails, you can volunteer. Most of them need extra volunteers. That's a really good way to meet people that
Yeah, but don't do like I did. Okay, so like a little story time. 2 summers ago, I decided that I was bored and needed to volunteer for literally everything under the sun. So I found myself doing back-to-back conferences, volunteering to write challenges for the conferences, corralling people, you name it, I was doing it, moderating chats. Only it got overwhelming and it caused burnout because I did too much. Now, here, the moral of the story is don't take on too much at one time. Just because there's a bunch of them out there doesn't mean you have to go play Pokemon with them and catch them all. Narrow it down to what you're actually interested, that what you know you're interested in. Don't like just go grab up on a conference just because it might or might not be interesting. Do it because it's one that you're genuinely interested in. They have a topic that you want to know more about. They have the type of people that fit with what you're aligned with as far as career wise. Like I just can't emphasize enough, overdoing it doesn't do anything but burn you out. It makes you exhausted. On the links that we were talking about though, CyberSeek, it is nicely broken down, and it lets you, it gives you what the basic feeder role is, but then it steps you through to where what the entry level positions are, what the mid level is, and what the end game is. Look, I'm going end game because I'm a gamer. I can't help that, y'all. I'm always going to be a gamer. I'm going to be 80 years old and doing raids in the nursing home and daring people to unplug routers. It's going to go all bad real quick. Okay, so anyway, CyberSeek will break it all down into you and tell you what fits in those categories and give you the average price or average salary. Sorry, price. It will also split off into skills and certifications that you might or might see need for the roles that you're looking at. All neatly categorized. And then the same goes with the on the CISA one, they have the career pathways tool that they have is broken down similarly, but I think it's a little bit more, in my opinion, a little bit more detailed. And they have federal roles on that one, which is awesome in case you're thinking about going government. And then you got, so like the final link, and there are a lot more. These are just the ones that I can come up with off the bat, but is the final link is the Department of Defense Cyber Exchange, and there's a lot of good information on it that does the same as the rest of them, but it'll get a little bit more detailed and break it down for you a little bit more and tell you what the PKIs are for it, and just they're just amazing sites to help you along your little journeys or big journeys. Who knows? There's probably quite a few budding CISOs out there. We don't know.
My new life goal is to find a CISO who has been through National Cyber League. Thanks, Nala.
Hey, you never know. I mean, it's like, okay, that example with where they were wanting someone with an ungodly amount of years experience for Kubernetes, only it hadn't been out that long. I'm just saying, you know. And just because you start out as a pen tester doesn't mean you won't become a CISO. Thank you very much. When I was little, I wanted to be the president of IBM. Correction. When I was little, I wanted to be the first woman president of IBM. It didn't happen, obviously, but I had high goals.
There's still time.
Yeah. As you get older, you're like, what you think that you wanted then just doesn't apply anymore, or not in the same way, I should say.
I would still like to steal the Empire State Building. It's been like 20 years since I decided I wanted that.
Well, yeah, I agree with you there. And I still want to see the dinosaurs at the Smithsonian too, because for some reason it was closed. But to my knowledge, they never reopened it like they were going to.
Road trip?
I'm not bitter. I mean, I'll get there eventually. It was a little upsetting. I'm going to make me a museum of old modems.
Ooh.
And then just start like doing holographic tours. Anyway, sidetracking. Sorry about that, y'all. But it is good to know your technology history. That's a good thing to know, because believe it or not, there are still some companies out there that use archaic equipment that is vulnerable. Just saying.
There's some certifications that'll make you learn it too.
It never hurts to learn it. As somebody who has been smacked in the face with them way too many times, it never hurts to learn it. It hurts my soul to use it.
I have nightmares of the 300 baud modem screeches. So now if like someone has their phone that I'm calling set to send a fax and it screeches, I go PTSD mode. No, please, God, no, anything but that. Anyways.
So we have a thing.
We have a thing?
Is it my thing?
It is your
All right, good. All right, we're gonna shift a little bit, because now we're gonna be talking about something that we have available to NCL players, which actually goes along very well with talking about community, making connections. How do you get your foot in the door, different opportunities that are going to allow you to be successful in your path? And we have a brand new InTech Scholarship. Hopefully you've seen it on the Slack channel, or if you're connected to NCL on LinkedIn. This is a partnership that will offer scholarships to support and promote diversity within the cybersecurity industry. We want to ensure that Cybersecurity is accessible for everybody, and that you all know that you're welcome and the door is open for you to find your place. So there are a couple of rules that are attached to this One in Tech Scholarship. Applicants must be enrolled or accepted to an accredited college, university, or technical training institute, and they must participate in the NCL and complete at least 25% of the individual game. So other requirements, and you only have to meet one of these, is that you're a student at an MSI, HBCU, or community college, that you are a first generation to attend an accredited college, or perhaps you identify within a demographic that is historically underrepresented within the tech profession. So underrepresentation may include aspects of race, culture, ethnicity, gender, and other factors that have resulted in exclusion. So applications are open now, and the deadline is to apply by April 28th. As you can see on that left-hand side, 5 NCL players will be awarded a $5,000 academic scholarship that will help you pay tuition. And up to 125 applicants will also receive free ISACA student memberships and other resources. So I absolutely encourage everybody on this webinar, or if you're watching, the recorded crowdcast, go in, apply. You never know what might become of it. So don't think, oh, it won't happen for me, or, I do fall under one of these categories, but I don't know. Try, because the truth is we are here to support you. We want to enable you to get all the resources you can. And a little tidbit, I will let you know that this is actually going to continue forward. So we're starting it now in the spring. This is going to come back in the fall. It will be here next spring. It will be here next fall. And students that apply one time and they get the first 5 NCL players, they can continue to receive money and be able to continue to receive the award if they continue to apply. So this is not just a one and done. We're excited to work with One in Tech. We're excited to bring some new opportunities to be able to lessen the hardship of, finances, especially when you're a student, are really hefty. And we want to make sure that we are alleviating as much as we can. And of course, the 125 applicants getting those ISACA resources, you're going to find a lot of benefit for those. So information can be found on the National Cyber League website. That is the website right there. Also, if you follow us on LinkedIn for NCL, we always have information updates there as well, and we'll have links for you to get to those applications. So if you have any questions, always feel free to reach out to us, or if you have a question right now on the crowdcast, you can pop it into the Ask a Question box. But we're thrilled to be able to present this type of opportunity for our players, and we're excited to increase more of these opportunities as we continue to support players in different ways. So these are just some reminders. The practice game has started, so it's March 28th to April 4th, and collaboration is encouraged. So it's a little bit different than past practice games. So go ahead and collaborate with your friends. Do the best you can. Practice. Use this time wisely, because as you can see, the individual game is just around the corner. So that's going to be April 8th through the 10th. And Hushy gave some great recommendations that I threw up here. Remember to eat, sleep, take notes. And I will actually leave it to anyone on this call who has any other reminders or any tidbits that you'd like to share before we go ahead and open it to questions.
My personal favorite, as WebWitch has always said, is hydrate or dihydrate, and you got to do it.
Okay, so she left out something because she's so nice. Emily is amazing. Isn't she amazing, y'all? Okay. Yeah. So I also might or might not have told her very heavily emphasized on I did. Probably shower too, so you don't knock anybody in.
You did, but I forgot.
It's okay to step away, basically. It's okay. It's still going to be there when you come back.
Also, go for a walk. Step away from the computer. Stand up, move around a bit. You'll feel better.
Yeah, if you've got any sort of smartwatch or reminder every hour to go take like a 1-minute stretch break or walk around, just so that you're, one, not staring at the screen, and two, you have blood flowing through your entire body, because apparently that's important. Not a doctor, but I've been told that's important.
You just play one on TV, Meredith.
Don't go hard
I
for
do.
mode on it.
Awesome. Yep. So keep in mind, guys, we're with you. We got you. We are here to help and support. Soak in everything you can for those practice games, and then just rock it for the individual game. And with that, I'm going to move into questions. We do have some questions already waiting. I'm going to go ahead and pop those up. We're going to go ahead and take the first one from Darwin. The question is, on LinkedIn, would you put this under volunteer or experience?
Yes.
I think Norma hit it right in the head. You can put it under either. Put it
I've seen it done both ways. Personally, I think I'd put it under experience. That's actually, I think, how I have mine, under experience.
Yeah, mine is listed under experience as well. The general rule of thumb is as you are doing this, make sure that you are not saying that you worked for National Cyber League or worked for Cyber Skyline, as you participated in the games as a competitor. You did not work for the organization. So as long as that is very clear, you can utilize or put that on your resume however you would like.
Yeah, like I can't tell you how many people I've when did we get new team members? Because I ran across it on LinkedIn or randomly out in the wild. I didn't know we got new people, which we did get a few new people, but these ones were not. So it gets a little confusing because I'm like, okay, surprise.
All right. The second question is, and I know, Tristan, you answered, does this platform offer a transcript? And the answer was sort of. I didn't know if you want to elaborate a little bit, just in case anyone else has any questions about the transcript for Crowdcast.
If it's not like a proper like sit down and read it transcript, but using Chrome, allegedly you can get subtitles.
Gotcha.
But that's allegedly.
Yeah.
Well, no, if you go with transcript, you can get the copy, you can get a printable copy of the scouting report, which serves as sort of a transcript, right?
Depending on if that's what Stephanie was asking. Stephanie, if you need to clarify so we can give you a little bit of a better answer, go ahead and put it in the questions. Otherwise, we answered both avenues, whichever one you're asking about. And if you happen to have any questions and the transcript of the Crowdcast is not available, please feel free to reach out on the Slack channel. You could always submit a ticket, a support ticket, or you can contact our team directly through the website. So we're always happy to help, just in case for some reason you need to have something that specifically was talked about on this Crowdcast. The last question we have is from Darwin, and is, how do you submit this on LinkedIn in the scouting report? Okay, so I think we might need a little bit of clarification. Is how do you submit this? Are you talking about the...
Wait, I got this.
Okay, you got it. Thanks.
Yeah, hold my non-alcoholic beer. So, on your LinkedIn profile, all the way down below, you've got licenses and certifications, as well as honors and awards. And you can attach files and add links to whichever of those you would prefer. You can put it in both. I would personally suggest putting it in honors and awards, and then in license and certifications, adding in that verification link that comes in the bottom of your scouting report, so that it shows up as a verified credential of, yes, I participated in this. Here's the verification that I participated. And then you can even add in the comment saying down below in honors and awards is my full scouting report, and have that there. That way it's called out as something valid, and then it also stands out as something wonderful that you've done.
Perfect answer. Thank you, Meredith.
Yeah, in the last 90 seconds, I had to go look at my LinkedIn to see what I did.
All right, we'll do a last call for questions to see if anyone has anything for us while we're live. The next slide, is everyone's favorite, where it's open chat. So everyone on the call, get your minds warmed up to something fun to talk about. Oh, we have one more question. So it's Ava. Do you have suggestions for finding examples of a high school student resume with a cybersecurity interest?
Yeah, so one of my favorite ways to go about doing that is to actually look for other high schoolers on LinkedIn who have their resumes posted. It's not something that is very common, but you can go look at the profiles of either other high school students in your area, or nationally, whatever you prefer there, and see if they do have a resume on their LinkedIn. There are a lot of sample resumes out there. Doing a quick Google search for cybersecurity resume, no experience, or cybersecurity student resume give you great ideas on how to fill content in a resume. More information is always better than none. And, just say, like, this is what I'm working on. This is what I have learned this far. This is what I aspire to do. And, fill out the entire page or 2 pages, pending the limit that you have, with whatever you can fill about what you want to do.
If you're a high schooler, volunteer. That's probably going to be more productive towards you getting a job than actually trying to job hunt, because not a lot of people are going to hire someone that is under 18, because you cannot sign an NDA. So,
And for those that don't know, Tristan would absolutely know what he's speaking to on that.
I tried doing that while I was in high school. Trying to job hunt just kind of led to a couple there was a good avenue that obviously got me to the job that I'm in now, but volunteer is going to be a more productive use of your time. At least from my personal experience, it was. But the job hunting when you're under 18, the fact that you cannot legally sign a contract will kind of blow out a flame pretty quickly. So it's easier to just volunteer.
I think this is something just tried to go into my window, and my dog's just laying on my pillows, chill. She's not saving my life.
All right, our last question, everybody, is from Darwin. Where can I find the previous year's scouting reports?
In your dashboard.
Yeah, that is all contingent on you having done previous seasons of NCL. If this is your first season, then congratulations, you'll be getting one end of April, as soon as they finalize the leaderboard. But otherwise, yeah, you can go view them through your dashboard or through your email.
And if you don't see them immediately, scroll all the way down to the bottom for those that have a few seasons under them. And there's a click for more button. Click for more. And so as you go down through it, off to the right under where it says enter, you'll see little icons. One's a little calendar. One's a little statistic looking thing, which is the leaderboard. And that final one is your scouting report. That looks like a little piece of paper. That's your scouting report.
Terrific. Thank you, everybody. And those were great questions. All right, so now we're going to go to our final few moments. We have about 5 minutes before we hit 7:30. If anyone has any last questions, you still are free to ask, of course. I'm going to say before we wrap up, I hope that this gets you excited and interested in the scouting report. I know as our internal team, we put a lot of effort into thinking of ways that this is going to be beneficial for our players. We want you to succeed. We want you to easily show your skill set, and then once again, easily get into internships, entry-level jobs, feeling confident that we're setting you up for success. So I hope that when you leave here, you're looking forward to getting this season scouting report and thinking, gosh, how can I utilize this? And how is it going to take me to the next step? So with that, we have a few minutes chat. I'm gonna let y'all loose.
Okay, so I wanted to I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Nope, go ahead.
The participation in preseason thing that like that's a huge change. So for players that are returning, it's important that you know, okay, so not only was the name of this segment changed, this part of the play, but you can also collaborate where before you couldn't. Yes, you can absolutely. It was preseason. It's now practice game, like Paul says. And during now it's optional and you can collaborate where before we couldn't collaborate. That's a huge change for anybody that's returning. What you giggling about?
Merediths, old Meredith yells at Cloud thing in the chat.
Yeah, after I take a nap, I'm probably gonna make myself into a meme of me just screaming at things. So,
I'm
why
trying
not?
to figure out why my dog is laying on my pillow and refusing to save my life from whatever just tried to come through my window.
Friendly dog.
Probably a squirrel.
Oh,
Look,
they have.
like I'm so serious right now. She literally burrowed herself up in my stuff on my bed, lazy Messiah. You didn't save my life. She looks like a gremlin. Her ears perked up. And she just went back to sleep. She's a vicious pit bull.
Uh-huh.
She just rolled her eyes at me.
Maybe she's waiting for you to save her. She's like, well, you know.
No, she's gonna like wait until like it's too late and it's already in here and I'm pecked my eyes out, and then she'll think about toying with it. I'm pretty sure that she was a cat in a former life.
It's okay. I'm a cat in the current life.
I think
I
I
have
am.
a bunch.
Like, I don't have one. I think I am one. Is it nap time?
I'm owned by a couple cats because you can't really own a cat; they own you.
That is so true. My cat lets me live here. That's all I know.
I
I
think
just
they all do that. Like, people pick you anyways, instead of you picking them. All of them do. And then like this one will look at me like I'm crazy if I want to eat my own dinner instead of giving her my dinner. Because her kibbles just aren't good enough. Which makes me wonder if they really aren't good enough.
I mean, if you have like a Chipotle versus a dog kibble,
Fair point.
Kibble might be better.
Dude, like for a little bitty bag for her, it's like $50. So come on, man. It can't be bad. It has to be good. Or else why did I pay that much for it? It says it's good for her. Everybody excited and ready for this season and already getting in the game and knocked it out of the park already?
Oh yeah, thumbs up in the chat for people who have already started the practice game. Hopped on it early. Well, okay, at this point, like 36 hours early, but still in it early.
All this excitement.
it's almost ice cream time.
More coffee time.
Oh, too late for caffeine. That's
Yeah.
how I don't sleep.
I wake up with caffeine and go to bed with it for my whole 1 hour sleep that I get a night. I don't know why.
Like I've got a caffeine station behind me and one in my living room and my kitchen, because if there is not caffeine going through my veins, I'm on the floor.
I love how you have designated stations.
I need to drink water, right? I said I am drinking water. It's colored water. It's flavored with coffee. It counts.
It's probably a good thing I don't have like an espresso machine. I'd be wired all the time. But they're expensive.
And back.
I'll stick to my AeroPress.
Oh, I heard those were good though.
I do. I love it. It's very easy to clean because like a lot of manual coffee brewers, especially like a French press, is a pain to clean daily. Especially, and if you're someone who drinks like multiple cups a day, like I do, you have to clean the cure. You would have to clean a French press multiple times a day, which would suck.
But they're really like, I mean, like, okay, so I like being in my RV. I would prefer to be in it, and I heard they were way better when you're RV lifing.
I know a lot of people like the AeroPress for going camping because it's like you can throw it in a bag very easily.
I'm gonna have to check it out.
Yeah, what is this thing?
I want to get a V60, Paul. I just haven't been able to justify it given that I own an AeroPress, a French press, and then also a mocha pot. I don't have room for a pour over setup as well.
Because contingency plans.
Tristan, you are so fancy with all of these coffee things. I don't know what any of these things are.
All just different ways to brew it.
French presses are supposed to be super pain in the buttish, but
No.
They make really good coffee, but technically unfiltered coffee isn't great for you if you drink it in large quantities frequently.
oh, good to know.
Ooh, read Paul's comment in the chat. We do love a good hand coffee grinder.
Eva, don't be nervous. We were all there, right where you're at now. You just got to jump both feet in the water and just do it.
Yep, got to start somewhere. And we're happy to have you. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and call it an evening. I appreciate everyone that joined us and asked some really great questions. We're excited to see how you do in the practice games and to get you rolling into the individual games very soon. Thank you, the three of you, for joining me and being wonderful hosts as always. And we will see you next Tuesday.
Bye, everybody.
Bye,
Have fun in
everyone.
the games.
Adios. Good luck.